Hey guys, and welcome back, or welcome to my channel if you guys are new. My name is Leah, and this is actually my second video going up today. So you guys get a bonus review video today. 2 reviews in one day, but I could not resist trying these palettes out tonight, so I had to, and it doesn't really fit anywhere else in my upload schedule this week, so we're doing 2 videos in one day today. Lots of eyeshadow trying on, testing out formulas, but I am so excited to get into these. So you guys know, earlier I did upload my Pat McGrath, the Utopian Dreams palette review, so if you guys want to check that out, I'll have a link somewhere over here or down below if you guys want to see my thoughts on that one. But for tonight's video, we're actually going to be testing out the new Huda Beauty Wild Obsessions palettes. I picked up 2 of them. There's actually 4 in total in the collection, but I only wanted to get the ones that I really think that I'm going to love and the ones that I was most interested in. I didn't really want to buy the other 2 just to review because I just wasn't really that into them. If you guys are unfamiliar, Huda Beauty does these little mini Obsessions palettes pretty frequently, and they're kind of hit or miss sometimes. I feel like in the beginning they were definitely not the greatest quality, but I do feel like they have been improving lately. I really enjoyed her Brown Obsessions that came out, so I decided to give these a try as well, and she always does such a good job with her themes and like the little special things she puts in her palettes. She's just so good at designing makeup, or the brand in general is, but the Wild Obsessions are kind of all wild animal themed, and like I said, there's 4 different ones. All 4 of them are available on Huda Beauty's website, and there's 3 of them that are on Sephora. I believe the Wild Tiger is a Huda Beauty exclusive, and these are $29 a piece. The Tiger palette was just kind of like boring neutral shades that I already have in my collection, so I decided to pass on that one. There was also a Wild Chameleon that kind of had some red and purple tones that I just really don't gravitate towards for normally in my day-to-day routine, but I did go ahead and pick up the Wild Jaguar. Now the packaging on these is really cute. It's like a shifty kind of packaging where it like changes, and it's like that slicky material that makes noise, you know? But the Wild Jaguar, you don't really see the shift as much, it's so dark, but I think this is the one I was most excited for because of these beautiful cool tones. It's just something very different, I thought, for Huda. Usually she puts out a lot of warm tone ones, so I was really excited to try this one out. Just kind of like a nice smoky purple palette. And I also grabbed the Wild Python. Now this one you can definitely see the kind of change in the packaging with this one. So this one is also very unique for Huda Beauty. She's never really done like a fun, I get tropical vibes from this, like very bright summery kind of palette. I know we're getting into fall, but this one does remind me of summer just with the tropical tones. But yeah, I thought this was very different for her, but I was kind of loving the theme. It's definitely very Python. I feel like each of the palettes does fit with the animal that it is. And like this one has a special almost snakeskin print shadow. I've kind of used it, so it kind of lost its texture. And I forgot to show you guys the Jaguar one actually had like a spotted one. As you guys can see, it's kind of like one of her marbled shadows. And of course, I forgot to mention I have 2 different eye looks on because I'm going to be doing one on each eye. So one eye is definitely more dark, smoky, and one is like the bright and fun eyes. I feel like it looks so drastic. Like one of my eyes definitely looks a little more open, but I thought that would be the easiest way to kind of test these out and get this video up tonight for you, because I have seen so many mixed opinions on these, and I was immediately like, oh my gosh, I have to get into these because I have to see what my opinion is. I want to share my thoughts on these. So let me get into the swatches. Let's start with the Wild Python eyeshadow palette. So first we have this kind of blue shimmer that looks like this. It's honestly a really smooth, beautiful color and very shifty and gorgeous. Next we have this lime green. I don't think these have names in the palettes. I don't know if they usually do. I don't think so. This one is another kind of shimmer formula. I really like this one. It's very bright and it still has quite a bit of shimmer to it. And then there's almost a gold in this one. This one I would say is a little bit on the lighter side, so it almost looks like it would be more of a topper because I'm not getting a ton of pigment off of that gold. Next we have a matte, and it's this turquoise. These mattes are very soft. Formula seems really good on these. This is what it looks like swatched for the more teal turquoise shade. Next we have like the snake embossed, another kind of teal. This one is so beautiful. It looks like that on the bottom. I really like that one. We have a darker brown in the palette, also very soft. It almost could go black. It's so deep. I did not try that one out, but hopefully it's a good formula. We have this like chartreuse color, and I did use that one on my eye look today. It's like a yellowy green. It reminds me of like highlighter yellow. I feel like it doesn't really swatch very well. Next we have a peach in this palette. This one has great pigmentation. And then lastly we have a neutral kind of mid-tone brown in the palette. So that is kind of the color scheme we are working with here for the Python. Definitely super fun and unique for Huda. Let me show you guys the Wild Jaguar swatches. All right, first we have kind of this smoky gray looking metallic. This is stunning. I did not try that one yet, but oh, the swatch is beautiful. We also have this taupey kind of purple crease shade. Swatches more on the purple side. Next is this kind of dirty gold, I would call it. It's really pretty. It looks so foiled on my finger. That is what it swatches like. A little bit lighter than I was expecting. And then we have this kind of darker brown matte, very soft formula again. Has a little bit of purple in the color of it. And then we have kind of the snakeskin one again. This is almost like a metallic purple with some gold shift. This color I think is absolutely beautiful. I have to try this one on my lid next. And then we had the leopard print one. This one's actually a lot darker than I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna swatch more like olive, but it's really dark on the eyes. It's definitely more of a smoky gray with not a ton of shimmer to it, but it is beautiful and very smooth. Next we have just a plain cream in the palette. My swatch might be a little bit more purple than it should be, but that's kind of what it looks like. Next we have a black. Surprisingly, the black is pretty good in this one. It swatches great as well. And then lastly we have kind of this purple with gold shift to it again. It's definitely different than the other purple shimmer in the palette, as you guys could see. Definitely a true purple. So that is kind of the look of the Jaguar palette. Sorry, I'm really terrible at swatching. Like, all my swatches always go sideways. I need to get like those little stencil things. Now that we kind of went over the swatches, I'm gonna go ahead and show you how I did these two looks with the palettes. So we're gonna do one on each eye because that's just gonna be easiest for today. I am going to go ahead and use this. I need to try this lime green and see how it is in the palette. So we're gonna use that one first. So I packed quite a bit on there, and we'll just put this in the crease. Oh my gosh, that is definitely coming out very highlighter yellow. Next I'm going to take this kind of turquoise shade and place this in the outer corner. Another pretty shade in the palette. These blend really nice, honestly. Next, I'm going to take this wet flat brush and we're going to go in with like the snaky skin one. And it's kind of like this teal. And we're going to place this kind of in the middle of the eye. This is a gorgeous color. And this really works well with a wet brush. It's going to give you that really metallic look. Gorgeous. I'm blending that all the way to the ends. I'm going to tap in a little bit of this darker blue. I want to test that shade out, and we'll actually put that even more towards the end. I'm just using the same brush just to add some dimension. We're kind of going to go for like an ombre look here. Next, I'm going to take the green and put this in the very inner corner. Next, I'm going to take this teal, and I'm going to place this on my lower lash line. So that's kind of the vibe we're going for with this eye. Let me move on to the next one, and we're going to try out the Wild Jaguar palette over here. So we're kind of doing two completely different eye looks, but that's fine. I think I want to do something kind of smoky, almost grayish green if I can. I know this is kind of a purpley palette. Let's go ahead and do the taupey purple in the crease. This shade has a bit of fallout to it, but I'm using kind of a more dense brush, so it's really packing on color. Sometimes I know brushes can make a huge difference in how your eyeshadows perform. So you want to make sure you're picking the right one for what you're going for. Let me take a little bit of that kind of brownish plum and also build that into the crease very lightly. The shade's pretty pigmented as well, so I'm just taking a very light hand with this one. Okay, next I'm going to go into the black in the palette and do this in the outer corner. With my blacks, I always just like to kind of start by taking a little bit of product and just tapping it on to the eye, and then I kind of just swirl in circular motions to get it all blended together. It's not bad, honestly. It's not too patchy. It seems to be building up nice. I do want to take like this kind of smoky purple here and try placing this on my lower lash line. I might wet this a little bit too, just to make sure we're going to get good payoff. And I'm just kind of swiping this across. I don't usually do shimmer a ton underneath the eye, but for this look I kind of wanted to try it out and see. I'll add in just a little bit of this smoky purple too, or the taupe color, just to kind of get that all blended and smoke it out a bit. So on a wet brush again, I'm going to take the spotted one, which is kind of like the Jaguar print one, and we're going to place this all over the lid. Oh wow, that's really dark. I was not expecting it to be so smoky. I'm not going to take that all the way because I do want to kind of brighten up the inner corner. But yeah, that's a lot darker than I thought it was going to be, but I kind of like it for a good smoky eye. And then for the inner corner, I'm going to take the Python purple, Python snake print, and then I'm going to put this in the inner corner. Now this color is kind of bright, so I don't know if I like this, but I'll have to mix it together. So we're just going to keep it at that. I'd say the gray, it does look a little bit messy, but I will clean it up with concealer. It's just very smoky for the Wild Jaguar. Let me go ahead and clean everything up, and we'll talk about the eyeshadows. Alright guys, now for my final thoughts of the two palettes I tried. Honestly, I am pleased with these. I feel like the quality is really good. Definitely very comparable to her chocolate palettes. If you guys bought the little mini chocolates, I think these are very similar. I know the Huda minis are made in China and the big palettes are usually made in Europe, so sometimes there is a quality difference, but I feel like they have been getting better with the formulas. They seem to be more on par. I do feel like sometimes the bigger palettes do have a little bit more kind of shine to them. These aren't, I would say, as super metallic, but I still get a really gorgeous look out of these, and I can still get gorgeous shine, just not as intense as I feel like her big palettes are. Like, you guys know how much I love her Naughty palette and also the Mercury Retrograde. Those are my favorite big palettes from her, but I think these are great too. Like $29, you really can't beat it. I would say with the Python palette, my only gripe I would say is with the mattes. I do wish that they popped a little bit more with the colors. Like the yellow, I did have to build up a few times, and the teal as well, but the look came out great. They blended really nicely, just take a little bit more building, but the shimmers in this one are absolutely beautiful. And as far as the Python palette goes, it's definitely more purple than I was expecting. I was hoping it to be a little bit more kind of grayish olive tone, but it definitely pulls very purple in my opinion. And I do wish there was kind of a lighter kind of gray in there. I'll have to test out this shade and see how that is on the lids. But overall, I think this is really pretty, and it was pretty easy to use as well. I didn't really have issues with any of them. I know like these smoky tones can look a little kind of scary at first, but once you clean it up with concealer, like it's good. Like, I don't feel like mine looks patchy at all. Even the black in there was pretty good too, which I'm very surprised. I think the other black I've tried from her was in the Smoky Obsessions, and I really wasn't a huge fan of that one. I do want to do a couple just like palette comparisons, because I definitely have some comparisons to the Wild Python. When I was looking at this, I was like, you know what? I do have a couple palettes that look like this, and I was thinking for a cheaper palette-wise, ColourPop Lush Life looks very, very similar. Like, can you guys see this? That looks so similar, and this palette from ColourPop is amazing quality. So if you're kind of wanting to try these more tropical bright tones, maybe go for the ColourPop, because I do feel like it's going to give you a similar look for a cheaper cost. Let me just compare. Like the ColourPop green, this is called Pom Pom, and you can see it's pretty bright compared to the green that is in Huda. Huda's a little bit darker. They're both pretty similar metallic wise. Like, I don't feel like there's a huge difference in the shine. There is like this like teal in the Huda. That's really pretty compared to this ColourPop one. These aren't really the same. I would say this is definitely different. Yeah, the ColourPop one is a totally different tone. The mattes kind of look similar though. Let me swatch the Huda matte orange and the ColourPop next to each other. ColourPop is a little bit more reddish, honestly. So there's definitely some similarities in here. Are they exactly the same? No, but you can get a similar idea. There's like a couple more brighter mattes in the Huda. And I was also thinking it reminded me a lot of the Club Nebula from Kaleidos and Angelica Nyqvist as well. So that's initially what it reminded me of, and I feel like those are similar. Now this one you can't really get anymore, but just in case you do have it already, these might be kind of similar. Let me just test a couple. I'm going to show you guys this green compared to the Huda. This one's going to be way brighter though. So on top we have the Club Nebula green compared to Huda's, which is a lot lighter in tone. This is TBT from Club Nebula versus the Huda. The Huda is definitely a little bit different too, going for the blue teals, but definitely some similarities, especially with the mattes there. Let me swatch this shade from Club Nebula called Astro as well, compared to this color in Huda. And let me compare it to this one too. So there's the blues swatched. On top is Club Nebula, and the bottom two are from the Huda. So kind of similar vibes there. I think you could definitely kind of duplicate the looks. As far as the Jaguar palette goes, surprisingly, this was a lot harder to find a duplicate in my collection, because it's like different, because it's smoky, but it's more smoky purples. So it was a little bit harder for me to kind of think of what would be similar. At first I thought it was going to be very similar to the Khaki Haze, but you can tell just by looking, these are just completely different tones. So it's not like that at all. I would say honestly the most similar in my collection is Sydney Grace Enduring Love, because this is another cool tone palette that is also leaning more purple. So I feel like these two would be the most similar. So I can kind of swatch a couple if you guys are curious. I think they still have this one in stock, but it has the same like purple taupe. On top is Huda, and then the bottom is Sydney Grace. That's different, but kind of similar. This kind of smoky color. Here's Sydney Grace. Those two are kind of similar for sure. And that was like the leopard spot one. So that's just a couple examples. I think similar vibes going with these two. Let me know if you guys think of any as well, and I can maybe get back to you if I have it in my collection to see if it's like a dupe or what. But I don't know, I kind of thought that one was going to be more similar to stuff in my collection, but surprisingly it's actually more unique because I had more dupes for the Python palette. So that is going to be it for this Huda Beauty Wild Obsessions review, just trying out the Jaguar and Python. I think these are like the most coveted in the collection. Like I said, I think this is really cute. The overall design is a 10 out of 10. And I'm really excited to see what else Huda comes up with for the holidays. Let me know if you guys will be picking these up. I'll have a link down below. I usually like to buy off of Huda's site because I can use discount codes. I know Manny MUA has a code and Chenmood has a code as well for 10% off. It's like an affiliate code, but I will have those down below. And if you guys were wanting the other two palettes, you could snag those as well on Huda's website. Hopefully this video was helpful and that you enjoyed this kind of late night, last minute upload of these reviews, but I just had to try these palettes out. I was so curious about them and I'm really pleased with them, I have to say. But that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.